The Vancouver housing market, once a beacon of stability and luxury in Canada, is now at the precipice of collapse. A shocking revelation has surfaced. Structural cracks have been discovered in several newly constructed high-rise towers across the city. These once sought-after buildings, marketed as the epitome of modern living, now face questions about their safety and long-term viability. This discovery, made during routine inspections, has sent shockwaves throughout Vancouver's real estate community and beyond, as it threatens to undermine the foundations of the city's housing boom. The scale of the problem is staggering. Experts estimate that over 5,000 units could be directly affected by the cracks, with some buildings requiring costly repairs or even complete demolition. What was once seen as a symbol of Vancouver's prosperity, the skyline dotted with sleek, glass-covered towers, is now facing scrutiny. The city's obsession with rapid development and its reliance on foreign investment have led to corner-cutting practices that have compromised the safety and integrity of these buildings. For the residents of these towers, the dream of homeownership has quickly turned into a nightmare. The reaction from local government officials has been one of disbelief and panic. Premier John Horgan, clearly shaken by the findings, has labeled the situation as a tragic setback for Vancouver's development and housing market. His comments come amid increasing pressure from residents, real estate professionals, and the media to address the growing crisis. However, his statements have done little to assuage the concerns of Vancouverites, who are now left questioning the integrity of the city's real estate industry. With more buildings under investigation, it's becoming increasingly clear that the crisis could be far more widespread than initially thought. Vancouver's luxury housing market has long been one of the most profitable in Canada, attracting both domestic and international buyers. For years, the city has been a magnet for foreign investment, with wealthy individuals and companies purchasing real estate as a safe haven for their capital. However, this influx of investment, coupled with lax regulatory oversight, has created a perfect storm. Developers, eager to meet the demand for high-end properties, have often sacrificed quality for speed, rushing to complete projects before the next wave of buyers arrives. This short-term thinking has now come back to haunt them, as the structural failures in these new towers reveal the dangerous consequences of cutting corners. The cracks themselves, which were discovered in the core structures of several buildings, have raised serious concerns about the long-term safety of these towers. The discovery was initially made in one of the city's most prominent luxury developments, where engineers noticed signs of stress in the concrete and steel framing. Further inspections revealed similar issues in other high-rise buildings throughout Vancouver, many of which had been completed within the past 5 years. The issue appears to be widespread, affecting both high-end condominium complexes and apartment buildings designed for middle-class residents. The sheer scale of the problem has left city officials scrambling to find solutions, but for many homeowners, it's already too late. The immediate consequences of these structural issues have been severe. Thousands of homeowners, who had paid premium prices for these properties, now face the prospect of having to pay for extensive repairs or worse, losing their homes entirely. The value of these buildings has plummeted, and many owners are finding themselves underwater on their mortgages. For some, the situation is dire, as the cracks have rendered their homes uninhabitable, forcing them to relocate while they await repairs. For others, the financial strain of dealing with such an expensive crisis has led to emotional and mental distress, as they navigate the uncertain waters of lawsuits, insurance claims, and potential bankruptcy. In addition to the homeowners, the fallout from this crisis is being felt throughout the construction and real estate industries. The Vancouver construction sector, which had been experiencing a boom in recent years, is now facing a wave of layoffs. With projects being halted across the city, thousands of workers are finding themselves without jobs, and several major developers have already filed for bankruptcy. The ripple effect is being felt throughout the supply chain, as construction suppliers, contractors, and even real estate agents are forced to adapt to the new reality. For the first time in years, Vancouver's once thriving real estate market is showing signs of significant distress. The impact on the city's economy is equally troubling. Vancouver's real estate sector has long been a major driver of the local economy, providing thousands of jobs and generating billions of dollars in revenue. However, with the collapse of several major projects and the slowdown in new development, the city's economic engine is sputtering. Local businesses that had relied on the influx of new residents are now struggling to stay afloat, and unemployment rates are expected to rise as the construction industry continues to shrink. In a city that has seen its housing prices soar over the past decade, the sudden downturn is a sobering reminder of the fragility of the market. As the crisis unfolds, many are questioning the role of Vancouver's government and regulatory bodies in allowing this situation to escalate. In recent years, the city has been grappling with a growing housing affordability crisis, with many Vancouverites priced out of the market by skyrocketing real estate prices. At the same time, the city's officials have been eager to attract foreign investment, offering incentives and tax breaks to developers in an effort to stimulate growth. However, this focus on rapid expansion has led to a disregard for the long-term health of the housing market. The government's failure to properly oversee the construction industry and enforce safety standards has contributed to the crisis, and now residents are paying the price. The cracks in Vancouver's housing market are not limited to the structural failures in these new towers. The broader issue at play is the unsustainable nature of the city's real estate boom. For years, Vancouver has seen its housing prices increase at an unprecedented rate, driven in large part by foreign investment and speculation. Developers have been quick to build luxury properties to cater to this demand, while the needs of the city's working-class residents have been largely ignored. As a result, the housing market has become increasingly unstable, with prices that are no longer affordable for most people. The discovery of structural flaws in these new buildings is just the latest sign that Vancouver's real estate market is teetering on the brink of collapse. In the face of this crisis, the future of Vancouver's housing market remains uncertain. While the government has promised to take action, many are skeptical of their ability to fix the underlying issues. With foreign investment continuing to pour into the city and new developments still being built, it's unclear whether Vancouver can return to a more sustainable housing model. The city's real estate sector is at a crossroads, and the decisions made in the coming months will determine the direction of its future. The impact of this crisis is likely to be felt for years to come. Vancouver's reputation as a safe and stable investment destination has been severely tarnished, and many potential buyers are now hesitant to enter the market. For those who already own homes in the affected towers, the future is bleak, and the prospect of losing their life savings is all too real. As the city grapples with the fallout from this scandal, the once promising future of Vancouver's housing market now looks increasingly uncertain. The next steps for the city's leaders are critical. Will they take decisive action to address the systemic failures that have led to this crisis? Can they restore trust in Vancouver's real estate market? Or is this the beginning of the end for the city's housing boom? Only time will tell. But for now, the cracks in Vancouver's skyline serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked growth and the consequences of ignoring the long-term health of a city's housing market. The chaos that has followed the discovery of structural cracks in Vancouver's luxury towers is only beginning to reveal its full scope. The ripple effect of this scandal is being felt across the city and beyond, as various sectors of Vancouver's economy struggle to cope with the fallout. The immediate concern for homeowners in the affected buildings is the uncertainty surrounding their investments. For many, the emotional and financial toll is overwhelming, as they watch their homes, once seen as a symbol of success and security, slip into disrepair. Some are now facing the grim reality that their homes may never be safe again. For those who have poured their life savings into these properties, the discovery of structural issues has been a devastating blow. The high cost of buying into Vancouver's housing market, already inflated by years of speculation and foreign investment, is now compounded by the looming threat of expensive repairs. For some, the prospect of paying for these repairs, or even the possibility of their homes being deemed uninhabitable, is too much to bear. The personal stories that are emerging from this crisis paint a picture of financial and emotional devastation. Families who once believed they had secured their future in one of Vancouver's most prestigious developments are now facing a terrifying reality. The crisis has not only affected homeowners but also the construction workers and professionals who were part of the building process. As investigations continue, layoffs have become commonplace, with thousands of workers losing their jobs as construction projects are put on hold indefinitely. The construction sector, which has been a major driver of Vancouver's economy, is now facing an uncertain future. Developers, once riding high on the wave of a booming housing market, are now left scrambling to salvage what they can. Some have already filed for bankruptcy, while others are struggling to stay afloat amid the growing legal and financial pressure. The collapse of several major developers has sent shockwaves through Vancouver's real estate industry, with many smaller firms now facing financial ruin. The ripple effect is being felt across the supply chain, with contractors, material suppliers, and even real estate agents left to pick up the pieces. Vancouver's once thriving construction sector is now in crisis, and the uncertainty surrounding the future of the market has left many questioning whether the city's housing boom will ever fully recover. The broader implications of this crisis are far-reaching. Vancouver's housing market, once seen as a stable and lucrative investment, is now a source of concern for both domestic and international buyers. The discovery of structural flaws in these new towers has raised questions about the integrity of other developments, with many buyers now hesitant to invest in the city's real estate market. Vancouver's reputation as a safe haven for investors has been severely tarnished, and the damage to the city's economy could take years to repair. While the government has promised to take action, many are skeptical about their ability to address the underlying issues that have led to this crisis. Vancouver's housing market has long been plagued by affordability issues, with high prices and low inventory making it difficult for many residents to find homes. The government's focus on attracting foreign investment and stimulating new development has created a boom in luxury properties, but this growth has come at the expense of the city's long-term stability. The discovery of structural cracks in new buildings is just the latest sign that Vancouver's housing market is unsustainable. The real question now is whether the government will take meaningful steps to address the root causes of the crisis, or whether they will continue to prioritize short-term gains at the expense of long-term stability. The systemic failures that have led to this crisis are not limited to the construction industry. Vancouver's zoning laws, development regulations, and tax policies have all contributed to the current situation. In recent years, the city's government has focused on encouraging rapid development to meet the demand for housing, often at the expense of ensuring that new buildings meet the highest standards of safety and quality. This push for quick growth has resulted in a construction boom that, while beneficial in the short term, has created a dangerously unstable housing market. Moreover, the rising cost of construction materials, combined with an increasing demand for housing, has led to widespread cost-cutting measures. Developers have sought to reduce expenses by using cheaper materials and shortening construction timelines, which has compromised the quality of many buildings. This has been exacerbated by the city's reliance on foreign investment, which has driven up housing prices and led to the overbuilding of luxury properties. The focus on catering to high-end buyers, rather than addressing the needs of local residents, has left many working-class Vancouverites struggling to afford homes. The structural issues found in these towers are the direct result of this unsustainable approach to development, and the consequences are now being felt by those who can least afford it. As the crisis unfolds, it's becoming clear that Vancouver's housing market is facing a critical turning point. The government must take immediate action to address the structural issues in these new towers, and to implement long-term reforms to ensure that the city's housing market is sustainable. However, this will require difficult decisions and a shift in priorities away from short-term profits and toward the long-term health of the city. Only time will tell whether Vancouver's leadership is capable of making the necessary changes to restore stability to the market. The future of Vancouver's housing market depends on the ability of developers, government officials, and industry leaders to work together to address the root causes of the crisis. If the city is to recover from this scandal, there must be a concerted effort to ensure that future developments are built to the highest standards of safety and quality. Furthermore, the city must implement measures to protect homeowners and renters from the financial fallout of this crisis, including providing financial support for those who have lost their homes or are facing costly repairs. For many Vancouverites, the question now is whether the city can ever return to its former glory. The discovery of structural flaws in these new towers has shaken the foundations of the housing market, and the damage may be too great to repair. However, there is still hope that Vancouver can emerge from this crisis stronger and more resilient. The city has faced challenges before, and if its leaders take decisive action, it may be possible to restore stability to the housing market and rebuild trust in the real estate industry. The coming months will be critical for Vancouver's housing market. As the city grapples with the fallout from this scandal, it's essential that government officials, developers, and residents work together to rebuild the city's housing sector. With the right reforms and policies in place, Vancouver may be able to weather this storm and emerge as a more sustainable, equitable city for all. As Vancouver's housing market continues to unravel, the future remains uncertain. However, one thing is clear: this crisis is far from over. For homeowners, developers, and residents, the path forward will be difficult, and many will face significant financial and emotional challenges in the coming years. But the city has a chance to rebuild, and with careful planning and leadership, Vancouver's housing market may one day recover. In the meantime, the cracks in the city's skyline serve as a powerful reminder of the dangers of unchecked growth and the importance of building a safe and sustainable future for all Vancouverites. As this crisis unfolds, Vancouver's housing market remains on a knife's edge. We are witnessing a pivotal moment in the city's real estate history, and the future is uncertain. But what does this mean for you? If you are thinking of investing in Vancouver real estate, or if you live in one of the affected towers, the consequences of this crisis could have far-reaching impacts on your future. To stay informed about the latest developments and get exclusive updates on Vancouver's real estate market, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below with 1 to let us know if you want to stay updated on this unfolding crisis. Don't miss out on the next video, where we will dive deeper into how this disaster could reshape the Canadian economy.